I'd like to welcome Mike from The Cool Factor, YouTuber, Twitch streamer, content creator extraordinaire. Welcome, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
So, Mike, it's been, I think I've looked at your content, and you have just such an incredible amount of things to see, whether it be YouTube videos, your Twitch streams, which is fairly more recent. For those that don't know who the Cool Factor is, who are you and what's your content like?
My name is Michał. Actually, I'm natively Polish. I use Mike just for the ease of it. It's
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, having a special letter in your name that comes from Poland, it's very kind of weird in the US. So I go by Mike most of the time, but Michał is my native name. Just to I don't want to go my early days or anything of Lego. I had my dark ages. I was a Lego child many times, many years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to the US about, let's see, it was 2014, so it's gonna be 7 years ago.
Wow.
Basically moved from Poland. It was a long story with my wife and her career and all that, so we kind of switched countries. And just to make it brief, when I got here, there's this whole process of immigration. I wasn't even knowing back then if I'm gonna be staying in the US for the longer time. Now I know I'm a resident here. But back then it was a visa, it was like an exchange program, all that stuff. And I applied for a work permit. That's how you do it when you move from Europe. And one of my first jobs I got was actually a Lego store. So I got a job at the Lego store early on after I got my work permit. It was just like a random. It was a mall next to my place, and they were looking for people. I was like, "Oh, cool, Lego!" I didn't have a Lego set in like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they were opening a store. I applied, and I got the job. And then I built like a fire truck or something. First, my purchase as an employee, and was like, wow, Lego has moved on since I was a kid. My last set I remembered back then was some Blacktron Megacore Magnetizer or something like that. My favorite set of all time, by the way, to
Yeah.
this day. Probably next to the Millennium Falcon from UCS line, the second one. But yeah, that thing kind of sparked my comeback to Lego. And a few months into the store, or even a few weeks, I don't even remember. There was this guy that was coming. I told this story many times. Probably many people in the chat know this, but there was this guy coming to the Lego store and was buying just 500 Lego here, 1,000 Lego there, 2,000, and he was just buying a bunch of Lego. And I was like, "What are you doing? What's the take here?" I back then I didn't know that there is a community of Lego. I didn't know what the AFOL was. Okay, I
Right.
got hired because I said I like Lego. Cool, like I can work here because I like Lego.
Yeah.
I liked Lego as a kid, but then I found out about the AFOL community, and this guy that was coming out was Jack from Brickvault, and Brickvault is a pretty significant YouTube channel about
Yeah.
Lego. And he was like, "Where do we have this like YouTube channel?" And I come here to buy sets for our reviews and all that. And I was like, "Wow, can I don't know, can I come visit your studio? Or do you guys have this somewhere?" And they're like, "Yeah, we have a studio. We like make videos and come hang out. Like, we went for lunch and all that." And long story short, they were basically looking for an editor. And I was like, video editing back then was becoming my little bit of a thing on the side. I tried to learn. For some reason, I got fascinated by YouTube when I moved to the US, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really into it. And they basically gave me a shot and told me, like, you know what, like, you seem like whatever, pretty, enthusiastic about it. So how about we give you a shot and hire you as an editor? It's like, cool. So that's where I started working for, like, I started working as a full-time, not YouTuber, but part of a YouTube channel, basically an editor.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after, I enjoyed the heck out of it. You were basically working in a studio full of Lego. They had this Lego city. And I was like being exposed to this whole YouTube world that I didn't know about before, the content creation. I wasn't even knowing about Twitch part of it back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think back then it was like 2015 or so, or 2016. Twitch was like so strong in brick building as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just getting to know this. I found out who like Jangis and like some OG Lego YouTubers as I was working my way and trying to cover my dark years, as I wasn't really familiar with Lego just yet. I just started working in that Lego store, and things were becoming more apparent to me that I missed a huge chunk of history of Lego by being in my dark ages.
Yeah.
So yeah, shortly after I became a co-host on the channel, I started making videos as a face on the camera and editing my own videos. And that's where my passion and my love for content creation was born. I was like, this is fun. It's
Yeah.
cool being paid for doing this and doing this like day in, day out, full time, with a security of having a paycheck.
Yeah.
So that was really like, I was being able to focus on that day in, day out was amazing. And
Mhm.
I was with Brickvolt for about 3 years, I believe, short of 3 years. But I was like really into it. When we like parted ways, I was collaborating with Beyond the Brick, for example. Probably many
Mhm.
heard about Beyond the Brick. Those are also great creators on YouTube. We've kind of knew each other from the Brickvolt days, and there was a little bit of a collaboration there. We still like are in very friendly contact, so you might see me on their channel from time to time. But I was at this point in time, I really want to do this. This is fun. Whatever my life takes me, I want to do Lego videos.
Yeah.
So the Cool Factor was born, and the Cool Factor was supposed to be more like I like cool things channel, but Lego
Mhm.
is part of it. But as you kind of want to niche down on YouTube, you kind of want to do things that are kind of coherent between videos. So I doubled down on Lego, as I was very much familiar with the Lego world, and I was kind of becoming more recognized in the Lego world
Mhm.
over time. So I created the Cool Factor. And funny enough, like all this led to the fact that I became an editor over time through Brickvolt and all that, and that became my profession. Like I actually work full time as a video editor elsewhere, but create Cool Factor at this point in time as a side hobby, hustle, whatever you want to name it. It's
Right.
probably many of us do here on Twitch or on YouTube. It's like a thing that I'm not going full time with yet, but it's a thing that I'm definitely having a lot of enjoyment from
Yeah.
and just a lot of satisfaction of doing. So, a brief history basically how I uh, got kicked out from my dark ages through a Lego store position, and then Brickvault position, and then the beautiful world of content
Yeah.
on the internets
Yeah.
that I'm part of today. Yeah, and then Twitch. I think I created my Twitch account maybe like a year ago, but
Mhm.
first stream was like 3 months ago or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
So it was,
relatively new, actually. I think you might be
yes,
one of the
yeah,
newest in terms of streamers uh
yeah.
that I've had on the show. How long ago was your YouTube career? Right when did the channel come along?
I mean, like me being on YouTube and becoming like a face that some Lego community people did recognize from
Mhm.
Brickworld and Beyond the Brick. That was, I think it's gonna be right now, it's coming at 6 years. But Cool Factor was born 3 years ago.
Great.
But first year at the Cool Factor was very slow. I was having issues with like splitting my job with creating videos, as probably it's like a struggle for many, I guess. But
Mhm.
I was probably like inactive 10 out of 12 months for the first year. Um, and then the next year I would just do more stuff. I think this is the first year kind of that I actually like find time to be semi-consistent with all this.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not like super like into this as a full-time creator, but definitely it's big part of my life that I just cannot detach and move along. It became a big part of me. So I would say the Cool Factor itself about 3 years, but actively probably like more like 2 years.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah.
That's still, I mean, with even 2 years on your own YouTube channel, the fact that you've been a part of content creation for other
Hmm.
channels for 6 years, that's incredible. That you actually this trajectory isn't uncommon, but it's still very notable to see that you started off as an editor, being
Yes.
building up those skills, and then bringing it all to your own channel. What made you decide to move from like the editing to actually being like a face on the channels that you were working for?
That was I want to say laughably, that was forced on me.
So you didn't have a
Like,
choice.
no, literally, like I remember, probably people can like look up Brick Vaults, my first Brick Vault review. It was the Lego Creator Palace Cinema set,
Oh,
and it was basically the story was this. I was like, because the channel was doing a lot, they were doing daily videos, and I got good at editing quickly. I learned quickly, and I became, better editor over time. And like within the first 2 or 3 months of working there,
mm-hmm.
they were like, you know what, Mike, like Jack cannot do all the reviews. Like, how about you sit on that table and do a review of this set? I was like, and then edit that video and put it on the channel. I was like,
Wow.
are you kidding? And I had the craziest camera fright ever. Like, I'm an introvert at heart,
Uh-huh.
so I never done an on-face video. Maybe I did, because I tried some YouTube things with friends before, but never like to that extent that I was about to be a face of a video for. Back then they had like 300,000 subscribers.
Right.
So
Wow.
they told me like, hey, how you do this? And I was like, my inner, my inner voice is like, go for it, challenge accepted. Yeah, let's go. So I took it, and it was the most awkward experience. I literally was like sitting there and like, this camera, and like I tried to be funny, but it was cringe. Let's be honest. And I still like come back to that video sometimes, and it's just like the most cringe thing ever.
Yeah.
But that was deep water dive. Like they told me, like, you're gonna be the host, you review this set, you edit that stuff, you put it on YouTube, and people will watch it. That video got like, few thousand views.
Yeah.
And comments come in like, this guy is cool, this guy is like, he got it, like he's all right, like we like him.
That's
And then the
awesome.
other comments were like, I don't understand what he's saying, he's Polish, where is he from? Because I have a Polish accent, and back then my accent was very heavy. Okay, and people were like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, it was giving me anxiety reading those comments, saying like, he
Oh
doesn't know
man.
how to. But like a lot of the comments were positive, actually. Like 90% were
That's good.
positive. And the more I was doing it, the more it became, I don't know, an addiction,
Yeah.
or just this satisfying drive that people like the stuff I put out.
Yeah.
Because for context, the way I knew something about video was because before, back in Poland, before I moved to the US, I was a graphic designer. So I was fascinated by static graphics. I was working basically in a printing house as
Mm-hmm.
as a basically book designer or magazine designer. So I knew a little bit of that Adobe world, for example,
Right.
but I never got into video. And then other company I worked for did some video, but I wasn't into it. But I really was fascinated about what they're doing. So I was a little bit into it, but I was never like part of being on camera. And then when I tried it, it became like, wow. So like I put out stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and people directly like my stuff, or like
Yeah.
people tell me that it's cool.
Yeah.
And back before I worked with clients, I would put a book together and nobody thanked me. Like, it was the least satisfying thing ever. You work for
Right.
some unnamed client, you're part of a team, and they just pay the invoice and you're good to go. Nobody knows who edited the book, or your creative work wasn't ever recognized. That was like part of the thing. I quit that job. Why I quit that job?
Right.
And now on YouTube, like I put out stuff even under other name, but people know me by name. Now people like comment that they like my video, they like my presence. And I was like, wow, this is encouraging that people actually can like your content. I got
Mm,
hooked, and
yeah.
and then like Brick Vault was going forward like a proper trend. Things were
Mm-hmm.
going well. We had more views and people liked my videos, and I was getting more freedom of creating content for them.
Yeah.
I created like a series of vlogs with my own like kind of ideas. I was doing all the editing. So it was like this great feedback kind of satisfaction of you put work in, you put stuff on the channel, people watch it, people come back to you, people want more, you do more videos. So like I like that feeling of people like making people days better, basically.
Right.
That part of people watch your video and like, thanks for that video, that was great, when is the next video, and I felt really satisfied with how we made people days better, and I
Yeah.
was a big part of it. So definitely that was the reason I kept going, and cool factor became a thing after a while.
Yeah. That's an incredible story, going from not even really knowing about AFOLs and adult Lego fans trying to you know, work a job for a Lego store and then you're suddenly an editor for a well-known YouTube channel and then
I have no idea how this happened, honestly.
yeah.
And for the first year or so, I worked at the store while working at Brickbolt. So I would take, Lego stores are very flexible with hours. So I
Yeah.
would do 8 hours at Brickbolt, just full time, and I would do like a 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. shift at the Lego store.
Wow.
Because I enjoyed the Lego store a lot, by the way. Like that was like, if you by the way, if anybody's watching, want to get a retail job and like entry level, and you're looking for something, Lego store is
Yeah.
the best job in the world. It's so much fun. So I had this part, my life was. I know, like my wife was probably very happy about it because I was all the time working.
Right.
Um, but it was so amazing to like one part of the day you were doing videos and putting them to the thousands of people, and the last part of the day you were just putting the apron and just chatting with AFOLs and selling sets. So I don't know, like both two things I think kept me at balance
Yeah.
of being creative for Brickvault and at the same time enjoying Lego with the people like in person
Yeah.
at the Lego store, because like you get those conversations, you sell those sets, but it's not the main thing you do. It's like you kind of spread the love for Lego, and you I don't know how many AFOs I made AFOs because we talked so much in the Lego store. I made friends with customers
Yeah.
just talking about Lego, and then then people found out like, oh, you do this like YouTube thing, like no, that's not mine. That's like I just work there. and, and people were like really 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 like enjoying I guess my looks on like how I look at Lego sets through my reviews or stuff, and
Right.
I shared that same kind of excitement when I was basically selling sets for Lego.
Yeah.
So there was the two things, yeah.
That's really cool to not only do the content creation and then also have this retail job, both aspects of your life there where there's work being done
Hmm.
still gets to touch this wonderful hobby. When you started taking on more with the the editing work, at what point did you decide like this really was the thing I wanted to do, or was that pretty instantaneous when you started doing it?
I didn't know, it felt kind of like unreal because my backstory is that I was eager to move to the US because
Hmm.
like it was because of my wife, because she had like a next step in her career, and it involved moving abroad.
Hmm.
So as a couple we decided that it's a good idea to maybe try something new and move abroad and start a new life somewhere else, because like she know how dissatisfied I was with my Polish job. Like I had a job that was kind of technical, creative, but it was leading nowhere. So I
Right.
was like, let's change things up. Like we have this opportunity, let's move to the US. We had this opportunity and took it. And then shortly after, I landed in this crazy world of, I don't want to say American dream, but things I would never think I would be doing, because first thing, I came back to Lego that I never thought I would do. I
Yeah.
thought that like I didn't even know back then what Lego was doing at that point in time.
Hmm.
It was, I was still in my dark ages, and now life threw me into this kind of job hunt, and then getting the retail jobs, retail store, Lego retail store job, and then this guy comes in and invites me to lunch, and we talk, and I became a guy working in a giant Lego studio. And and a few months this was happening, and I looked back like, holy smokes, I like my life looks so different right now.
Right.
I live in a different country. I use a different language, and now I get paid to build Lego and make videos about it.
Right.
So I was very grateful back then, and I think that feeling of being grateful established this love of content creation, because I what where life led me at that point in time, it was just this just kind of like a successful win that
Hmm.
felt like that. After years of being a little depressed about my job or like my career going nowhere, now I had this thing that I actually enjoyed doing, and Lego was part of it. So I thank the Lego store manager for hiring me there, because he hired me and I met Jack from Brickvault that gave me the opportunity to work on Lego content. And now I discovered YouTube, and all this, chain of events happened. And you would ask why I created Cool Factor, because like as things were moving and I was switching places,
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop. It felt like part of me at this time, so the Cool Factor was born. And that's, I think, my motivation, because Lego changed my life so much and led me to things, doing cool things I never thought I would be doing, that I just don't know how to quit right now. And I still enjoy the bricks very much, and it's just part of my life,
Yeah.
in more ways than one, I guess. And I have a very supportive wife that really puts up with my hobbies. So that's one thing that's also very helpful. Yeah.
With everything you've done so far to bring you to uh, starting your own YouTube channel, what was the most challenging part of starting it on your own, even though you've had all this experience previously?
Here's the thing. I wasn't sure I want to do my own channel,
Hmm.
but for multiple, for like specific circumstances, we parted ways with Brickvault, and I had this moment when I was like, well, that's it.
Mm,
Am I just gonna like stop making Lego videos?
right.
And then Beyond the Brick, we connected, and I made some videos for them, and I was like, what if I just do it on my own? Like, what if I do it on my own terms? And with collabing with other channels, you abide by a certain like style, or you're trying to fit into this channel kind of image, or something like that. So
Hmm.
it was amazing, because Beyond the Brick would welcome me as their LAN member. So I would get some sets for reviews, I would get them for free, I would work on them without a dime spent. This is great.
Hmm.
But in the end, I was like, I wanna be more me in my content. So even though that's technically my content, but it's posted on another channel, and they have their own schedule and all that. But I was like, I want to do more. I want to be like me, in terms of people knowing me for the Cool Factor, or for being Mike, the Lego fan, rather
Hmm.
than, oh, this guy worked for Brickvault, or oh, this guy worked for Beyond the Brick. Like, let's check out what he does. I wanted to kind of be my own voice more than being a voice on somebody else's channel.
Yeah.
In the end, and the most challenging thing, honestly, because I decided that, okay, I'm gonna run a channel. What do I have? Nothing. I have one camera I used for some vlogging in the past, and I
Yeah.
have about like 5 by 3 feet corner of my bedroom that I share with my wife. How do I do this here? It's like a 2-bedroom apartment in Southern California. Cool. Okay, we got a table. Cool. I need a microphone. Great. I need some lights. And setting this up took me like few weeks or a few months. I don't even remember. And then like, okay, let's create content. And it's kind of crazy, because you know how you have those like roguelike games when you like level up a character and then you die, and
Yep.
then you have to start over from
Yep.
scratch. That I felt that way.
Right.
I came from a 6,000 feet studio with a Lego warehouse. We had like 12 cameras or something. We had like a mock room. I had this like gigantic setup with everything like ready to go at all times. And now I'm like scaled down to this tiny corner of a bedroom
Yeah.
with all my knowledge that I knew about editing or cameras. And I did my first video with like technically all the knowledge or experience I had at the time.
Yeah.
And that video was crap. It was like the worst video
what
ever.
was what was crap about it?
I think I looked at it like literally 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, the lights are terrible. The shadows are like, and my audio is so bad. My camera is like, and I looked at all those things and thinking, I have all this experience. I made like 500 videos for these guys, and I can't make a good video on my own. What the heck?
No.
So it felt like I was learning from scratch all over again, you
Mm,
know? And being like, even right now in my home studio, having a little bit more decent setup, I was like, you know what? In the end, I don't think experience matters at most as you think it does, because now you set up everything from scratch on your own, and it feels like the learning curve is reset to zero again. The good thing is that I was in that position before, because when I joined Brickvault, I had minimal knowledge on editing, or or camera work for that matter. I was like learning everything on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I had technically that knowledge, starting the Cool Factor felt like the same. Felt
Yeah.
like I'm here, this little dot of me, and I have this huge task at creating my own YouTube channel that I want to be somewhat successful, right? Because I
Right.
knew how success looked like for a big channel.
Right.
Um, and I think the hardest thing is to just like get your sleeves up and like, okay, let's do it again. Let's
Right.
let's learn the things that we already learned again and
Yeah.
implement them in your own way that works for my like different schedule, because it wasn't 8 hours a day 5 days a week anymore. I had a different job.
Right.
So just trying to motivate yourself to like, okay, now you're in control, you're responsible for that growth. It's not like you're not joining an established channel. Even if people maybe knew me from my older videos or something, my goal wasn't to be riding any like popularity from the past. I didn't want to be this kind of one movie actor from the past, like, oh, this guy did a movie in the 70s, now let's see what he does right now.
Yeah.
I wanted to build my own brand as if I didn't know anything or wasn't ever on a YouTube video before. And I think that was the most challenging thing to switch your mind to and to do,
Yeah.
and to kind of keep at it and don't quit after the first 3-4 months
Yeah.
or so. And I guess I didn't quit, so I call it a success that I didn't quit. Because it's challenging for those of you in the chat who don't know what it takes to create content and to be somewhat, I don't know, consistent about it, or somewhat with some goals in mind. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's a common knowledge here. So basically scaling down your operation and trying to fit your creative life into that corner bedroom. No, now I upgraded to my own room, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near what I like, no, the resources I used to have available for me 3 years back at Brickbolt. So
Yeah.
I think that was the challenge. Like, you had all this and you kind of lost it, and you have to build up again.
Right.
And all that keeps you together, willing to get that again, is your resilience and your true test if you're actually very passionate about it or not.
I mean, it seems like you are. And what's really interesting is you go from this established channel to now you're a one person operation, right?
Yes.
You're not part of a
Everything,
team.
yes, I do everything on my own.
You don't have a team at your disposal as well as all the other
Yeah, you don't have
resources.
like a guy on email like, hey, can you do like cut this video for me real quick, or like, can you do a
Right.
thumbnail? I mean, I
Yeah.
have those kinds of things at work,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I like that, led me to getting a job at a marketing team in a company that has those kind of things. Like, you have to like delegate, have like a guy edit something for you, do a thumbnail for you, cool.
Yeah.
But no, now I have, everything is goes through me.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
my
a
own boss.
it's a one person show, which means it potentially makes things a lot it takes a lot longer probably
Yes, yes,
because you're doing everything from concept to publishing the video and in
yes.
between. What was that like for you? Because you were used to being an editor and
Hmm.
at some point part of the talent, and
Yes,
then now to kind of take a step and say, oh, I have to do everything. I have to like structure the review. I have to take
yeah.
B-roll. I have to like everything that goes into it. What were you thinking when you started doing that all on your own?
Well, the good thing about it is that at the Brick Vault, it was kind of like that. Let's be honest. I was like, by title, I was an editor,
Hmm.
but Brick Vault was basically a 3-man, effectively 2-man operation when it comes to like video creation.
Hmm.
Um, Only me and Jack were the editors, but also, through my Brick Vault career, I was shooting and editing. So yeah, we were 1-man armies on our own,
Hmm.
through our work many times over. But I think, if I had to summarize this, it's a curse a little bit. Once you have all that knowledge and you kind of either, well, as you said, rely on other people, or were in that 1-man army position, now you're your worst critic, because I had
Yeah.
some certain threshold for content creation. And for example, I met Just Too Good. Justin is a well-known YouTuber,
Hmm.
and he shoots. I at least maybe not now, but I think in the past he shot and edited all his videos at his giant channel on his phone. Everything,
Wow, on his phone even.
everything, editing, shoot, everything. I was like, dude, uh, my curse was that I was at I was at the mirrorless camera level. I cannot shoot with my phone. I
Hmm.
literally cannot go lower than like a DSLR or a mirrorless footage.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a curse, because I didn't really go through the process of being this like young dude that, hey, I want to make a YouTube channel, let's take a phone and shoot something and then go from there. No,
Right.
I joined a channel that had an established studio, and they
They
taught
had
me everything.
they had
So
the means, the equipment,
yeah,
they
I
had
jumped a few
everything.
steps. Yes, I jumped
Right.
a few steps, and I learned in the semi to professional environment.
Yeah.
And then I had all this like principles of production and editing, which helped me in my current day job, because I work in a marketing department of a video heavy company.
Hmm.
That helps. That knowledge like got me the job. Cool. But if you're your own person creator, like single person creator,
Yeah.
it's like you have all these principles, and like I can't I literally cannot over edit sometimes. I'm editing, like we could like make this video a little better, like I'm gonna cut this down, and like while
Yeah.
some other person just shoots on a phone, posts a TikTok, and like we're
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
Yeah. I
And they
guess
get more views.
I guess I have a question now, kind of
Yeah.
given this revelation of you have all this knowledge, you have all this experience, and you really want to
And I
make.
wish I didn't have that. I wish I had
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
I wish I was less knowledgeable about this stuff, because I wouldn't overthink my content as
Yeah.
much.
Do you feel like that's a thing that you
It
often run
is.
into now, that you overthink your content when you get ready to post a video?
Ask my audience. This thing, like it's the beginnings of the Ferrari Daytona SP3.
Mm.
Through my job, I'm able to kind of land occasionally very fancy high-end cameras. So
Uh-huh.
I had a very fancy camera for a weekend. I shot like an insanely crisp unboxing video for this thing that took me like 20 hours to edit or something.
Yeah.
Nobody watched it, because nobody cares about unboxings anymore. But
Oh my.
like this kind of thinking that somebody would shoot that video on a phone in like 30 minutes. I took like 2 days of my weekend to shoot it and edit and put it like together. I guess
Yeah.
it's a nice video, but like that kind of thinking
Yeah.
makes me put one video sometimes over a weekend, whereas people post like 20 videos
Sure.
shooting on a phone.
Sure.
So it does affect, I think, my ability to how YouTube is nowadays, like put out content, like get it out, like get
Right.
stuff out. People
Right.
want content, people want uh, simple quick things to watch, like the attention span is just not. And I'm like this traditional guy that like I want to like make a like shot list, I want to shoot b-roll, I want to
Yeah.
maybe do some. No, I don't do scripting most of the time, but
Hmm.
like I want to prepare, like I do my prep work, I do my pre-production,
Yeah.
which is my curse, because that's how I operate. And it's just like for YouTube, I don't think it's very good to know all this stuff,
Yeah.
because it like kind of limits you, and you don't want to go lower.
Yeah. I,
Yeah.
I I can understand that. I actually jokingly call myself a recovering perfectionist because
Yeah, you work in in game production, right?
yeah,
So
I work as
game
a
development.
yeah, in game dev. I work, I mean, I do the Twitch channel,
Mm-hmm.
and I produce crossing the streams as well. And there's kind of a
Yeah.
moment where anytime there's this endeavor, whether it be a video for YouTube or a stream for Twitch that I've got planned, there's kind of that moment where I feel like I'm really, really planning, right? I'm getting into
Overthinking, kind of,
right. I'm
probably
getting
trying
into
to do too
the
much.
yeah, I get into my own head with the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And I've learned over the years that I'm still a planner, particularly for bigger things, whether it's event streams and things like that. But I found that uh, with anything content creation, often there's that balance between both speed and quality, right? That
Yes,
exists.
I struggle
And
with that a lot.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this applies to YouTube, this applies to Twitch, or
Hmm.
any form of content creation. Uh, there's a certain amount of speed that you should establish when it comes to putting out your videos or planning out certain streams.
Absolutely.
And if you spend too much time on those steps, then you end up over preparing or overthinking, and then not that the opportunity's gone, but then at that point you've sunk a lot of time in, you know.
It
uh
does. The worst part about it, is that I enjoy it. I really enjoy like diving into my edits, like probably spending an extra hour here and there. And it sucks because I enjoy it, and sometimes I miss a trend, or like I was just at Comic Con in San Diego, and I had a few videos put out. But if I wasn't overthinking that, I guess I could have put out that videos on the first night. If I wasn't
mhm.
like choosing the music better, or like doing all these like little things I do at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And often I stop myself like, Mike, sheesh, stop. Like they just want to see what's up with Comic Con. That's all they want to see. Like stop with that, like perfecting your transition to this music from this music. Stop, like stop.
yeah,
And I always do that, and it's the worst.
yeah,
So advice to all the people viewing: if you want to see perspective from a YouTuber, just shoot on the phone and cut it. Just chop it up and put it out there. Like
yeah,
don't be me.
yeah.
Honestly, it's like,
Well,
but I
I mean,
enjoy it. Like I enjoy the process. It's just fun for me
right,
to like, and I kind of like learn new things every time I do that. I
right,
think like maybe I don't see it, but people tell me that, hey, your content improves over time. You like your videos look better. I strive for that quality, even production quality. It's even though it's not as important on YouTube nowadays, but it's important for me. I take
right,
satisfaction from spending the time on that. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle if somebody wants to be a single person, or even full-time or even part-time YouTuber. Definitely, as you said, you need to find that balance between how much time you spend on your video and how much you output, literally.
right.
It's very important, and I'm learning that, like, even my news videos lately, I simplified. I record everything from OBS, for example, so I eliminated my memory cards.
Hmm.
So I commend myself for that, because I sacrificed some video quality and the bitrate
Right.
for having a quick video that I can put out together and cut in, like, less than an hour. So I commend myself, because that's my fight with perfectionism. I'm like, fine, I'm gonna cut that, I'm gonna put it out, I'm gonna work on the next one.
Yeah,
So I teach myself how to overcome this urge to like perfectionize everything, because I do
yeah,
that at work. Like I put out videos for my company,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I like the quality I put out. Like, I get good feedback from my peers, and they like me as an editor. But when I go home, I start to try to like kill those principles, trying like, okay, Mike, this is not your work. You're on your own judge. People will still like that video. They just wanna hear about those new avatar sets. Okay, Mike, so just cut the slack and just cut it quickly. Put some music, slap some music on there if you need to, and put it out. Like maybe
yeah,
think about the thumbnail a little more than your
yeah.
edit. Like things like that. So
Right, right.
yeah,
I like how you did point that out with the thumbnail as the example. It's like there's
thumbnail is
only
the most
so
important thing. Like it's
there exactly. There's like so much there's only so much time, in a day or however many days that one wants to work on this content.
mm-hmm,
And deciding about like what is the most important things that go into the work for a piece of content, right?
mm-hmm,
Like how much time do I spend on this editing this sequence versus
exactly.
should I be spending more time on this thumbnail now that it's edited, or it's definitely one thing I want to say before I forget is that it's very clear that you're very passionate about what you do and that you love making content. So for that, huge recognition to you on that, because I'm
Thank
glad,
you.
because a lot of people don't love all the aspects of the process. You clearly do, and
Yeah, you
that's
know what? Like, I noticed that lately with my chat. I think one of the streams I do like bricks and coffee shows on Sundays, so I do my like more like open live discussion.
yeah,
And I said something along the lines that, Lego is a tool for me because I enjoy the video making process more.
right,
Like, I can shoot a Gundam model and I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I do a Lego model, for
right.
example. So like first and foremost is the creation of video is what comes first for me, and Lego set is second.
Hmm.
And I'm probably like on the rarest end of the spectrum, because for many, Lego is the main driver. Like they have the set and that's their main thing, and then
Sure.
they should have video about it. Like first and first, I want to make a video and just happens to be about Lego. So because I that's like my most liked hobby right now.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely think the opposite in many ways. That's probably what maybe even blocks me from growth, because I spend more time on videos than your typical YouTuber.
Sure.
Well, of course, like the big high-end YouTubers, they can plan for weeks and execute like Mr. Beast or something. But
Right.
I think in my niche, like around that like 8-10,000 subscriber size of a channel, um, I cherish that production time. What I probably shouldn't, and I should probably focus on putting out more stuff. But I my first principle when I started, you asked me before why I'm doing this, and my first principle is to really enjoy it. Like people ask me like, "Hey Mike, how do you make a YouTube channel? How do you run a YouTube channel?" And I always
Mm-hmm.
say, first and foremost, you have to check with yourself that you like doing it. It's
Right.
hours on end of thinking. Sure, if you can switch your mind off and shoot on your phone and just post TikToks or whatever, great. You're probably gonna see more success. But if you enjoy kind of longer form video creation to any point, you have to trust yourself more and check yourself a little more often.
Right.
Um, and check yourself after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years of doing that. Do you still like it? And I always ask myself this question, and I answer myself, yeah, I still like it. That's why I'm doing it. Because a lot of people like I knew, who were inspired by me making content, or by Brickbot making content, or by Beyond the Brick making content. I would see channels pop up, and people would do a few videos, maybe 10, 20 videos, and they would like disappear. They would
Mm-hmm.
quit.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like I would disappear for like a month or two, get myself together, get my stuff together, get my life together, and then come back because I feel this itch to make another video. I don't know about what yet, but I know I have this itch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very important to find that itch. If anybody's like watching this, is willing to is looking at content creation, or looks into being online a little bit more with your hobby,
Mm-hmm.
definitely find that. Make sure you enjoy the process first,
Right.
and then the topic of the process comes second, in my opinion.
That alone, being very passionate about the process is the one trait that I often see in people who are successful at this, whether it be YouTube or Twitch
Hmm.
or any kind of content creation. A lot of people get into it for different reasons. Anyone who gets into it, whether it's about like they get into it because they like Lego and they want to share Lego, their love for Lego, which is amazing, and I
Hmm.
mean that's part of why I
I
do
mean,
it.
that's what got me into this, but
That's what
then
got you into it.
the production part of it, like I think a little took over a little, I guess,
Yeah,
if you
and
think about it.
that's great, and I think those are the things that will sustain you in the future, going forward. I mean, that's why you've been editing for all these years, and that's why you're 2 years into the Cool Factor as a
Hmm.
channel. We're discussing before the episode how long I've been streaming. This channel is over 5 years old. I told you I've taken breaks, I've stepped away, but I've always
But you
come
always come
back.
back,
I
yes.
always come back. There have been times where, because I can't make it a full-time career for myself,
Hmm.
I've thought about not continuing to stream because of the time commitment, the effort, everything that goes into it. And
Absolutely.
I've always found that even when I leave, even when I've taken my time away, I really missed it. I really
You want to
love
come back.
I want
It
to
always
come
like
back.
drags you in.
It always
Yes,
it always brings me back.
I feel you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a time late last year where it's maybe only 6 or so months into building Lego on Twitch. And I mean, my story, to put it very briefly, is I got back into Lego. I started streaming it. I really loved it so much. I started streaming it regularly. And
Uh-huh.
about 6 months into that, I was unsure if that was the right move for my content, but I knew
Right.
that I loved Lego and I knew that I loved streaming. And so at one point I was like, well, I'm not going to stop doing Lego. I'll keep building Lego. That's
Hmm.
fine. I thought about the moment where I was like, well, do I want to stop streaming? And for a while I thought, well, maybe I just need a break from streaming again, or I just need to take some time. And I took about a month to just figure it out. And I was so close to stopping, but then I was like, I've come back before. I'll probably, I
I
I
it's like
love
story
it.
of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I love, and Twitch is very different than YouTube, and we can talk about that
I'm learning
next.
about this as we speak. Yes.
We can talk about that next, but for me, I love that process of broadcasting live and putting on a show and talking to the community in a live setting. And so all those things, kind of like how you feel about the process of building a video for YouTube or creating
Yeah. I
piece of
mean,
content.
streaming is also important for me. Like I say, like I'm fresh to Twitch, but I'm not fresh to streaming.
Right.
Back in Brick Vault, I was also the lead kind of spear of streaming Lego builds on YouTube. I think we were one of the first channels to really do. Basically, at one point we did 5 days a week streams
Wow.
from the Brick Vault studio, and I was the one that designed the setup, all that stuff. Like I was a few months into the company,
Yeah.
into the channel, and that was kind of like the talk of our brainstorms. Like, hey, maybe we should do Lego builds. And
Yeah.
there were many, even I think even Brick and Nick, one of the OGs on Twitch, was like in early stages. He would come to like our YouTube streams, and then we like would co-stream to Twitch, so it's stream simultaneously to Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
And he was one of the first people to like hang out with us and follow us and subscribe to us, all that stuff.
That's
So
cool.
I was very familiar with the process of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I just wasn't aware back then how big of a deal it would become over time. So
Mm-hmm.
we did that for a few months, then we stopped streaming because of the decisions of the channel. We just focus our all time on produced content, on videos. But I felt like that's one of the reasons I kind of tried Twitch, because I was streaming on YouTube at the Cool Factor for a few times here and there. I
Mm-hmm.
was doing a few things, but on YouTube, like YouTube changed over time, and basically I figured out that making streams on your main channel it's kind of hurtful to your channel if you want to focus on edited content.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, your algorithm and your analytics kind of go down if your
Mm-hmm.
streams don't kick off right away. It's kind of like a long story, but basically, if you're a YouTuber, a lot of people even have separate channels for streaming or make their streams unlisted after they finish, so they don't serve as videos, and then they don't lower your overall watch time, for example,
Right.
percentage. So that's why also I moved to Twitch to because I love the connection. It's just awesome to be able to talk to people not through the comment section but through actual live interaction.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and also like a lot of streamers or YouTubers who moved here or started doing here were kind of encouraging me to try on Twitch as well. Junk was also one of the kind of inspirers for me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, those are two very different platforms, as you said. And but I think the principle of like being this unstoppable force that you take a break, you need to figure out your life a little more. You take a month or two,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have the ability to be dragged back and come back and again enjoy it,
Yeah.
I think that is very important trait to have. If you feel like you have it, no matter how many times you feel down or feel about quitting, you have to trust your gut, and I think your gut will tell you that you're gonna come back.
Yeah.
And I felt that way when I kick off the Cool Factor. The channel was just dead on arrival. It was like I thought I had all this knowledge on my hands. I had people who knew me from previous channels, and I was like, cool, that's gonna be a great success story. I'm gonna be like, a huge channel in like no time. And then the reality kicked in, and I was like, oh wow, that actually requires a lot of resilience to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was asking myself, like, do I have what it takes to not quit? Do I have what it takes to come back after that break or two or three? And do I still enjoy it? And all the times the answer was yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you kind of, I feel like you have the same kind of approach to content, and just being this creator. In your case, a live creator. In my case, a video creator.
Yeah.
But the same principle applies. It's something that is already established in our lives that we just really like to do. And it's sometimes hard to do. It's sometimes the life is unapologetic, and sometimes life gets in your way. especially when this is not your like full-time endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think very important it is to accept it, that life will get in the way. Life will suck sometimes, and things will be more important. There will be priorities other than content creation. But what wins over is that resilience to like things, cool down in your normal life, and then this call to action drags you in, and this call to create comes back. And I mean, in my like higher point right now with my content, I'm not posting as consistently or regularly as I would like to,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm happy to say that I come back to it no matter how hard the week has been, or how hard things are in life, or how stressful my job can become sometimes. I sit down, and maybe I looked at this Lego set 3 times and didn't want to touch it. But today, I'm going to pop it open, get the stream running, get some editing done. I'm going to do it. Then another one, and another one, another one. Right?
Right.
So this is very important, to have that ability to overcome your struggles, or your motivation problems, or your life kicking you in the butt sometimes.
Right.
Very important, for sure. Yeah.
How do you keep that motivation?
I really cherish my balance. I was burned out twice, like burnout the point. I was burned out back in Brickvault, I think the third year of working with them, because we're like it was very intense. No, as much people were saying this is the best job in the world. Like, you just build Lego and you get paid for it. True, yeah, sure. But I think you and I can agree that a lot of people do not understand what goes behind the scenes into having that sort of intense output.
Yeah.
Being only a 3-man team, or even more so a 1-man team like I am,
Yeah.
there's a lot behind the scenes that you just see that thumbnail and title. To create that, to get to that point, it's a lot.
Right. You're talking about how do you stay motivated yourself?
Yeah, the balance, knowing like, okay, when you feel tired, when you feel like you're about to hit a breaking point,
Yeah.
You can hear all these motivational speeches to say like, yeah, go through it, push through, like just do it. Sure, yeah, that's how successful people operate many times over. But sometimes like you have to be in balance with your mental state, with your mental health. And at this point, I motivate myself by knowing that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to just turn the computer off and go to see the beach, or just go with your family on a walk. It's okay. Even if you're missing your own imposed deadline, saying like, oh, a new Lego news came out. It's super hot. We got to talk about the Star Wars set. It's fine if you post it tomorrow. I trust my audience more now. Like, I don't chase like crazy trends or anything like it. I trust that people watch me because they like what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm like a day, 2 days, heck, a week late with a piece of content I want to talk about, that's fine. And that's okay. Like, I'm not aiming here to break 1 million subs in a year. I'm not really setting up myself to goals that are maybe overachievers. I try to like be really balanced in my life in a way that if I feel tired, if I feel anxious, if I need to build a Lego set in silence, I will do so. If I want to share building a Lego set, I will stream. If I want to make a review about it, I will do a review about it. If I don't, I won't. So I try to be less in control of what I want to do and how I want to structure my work-life balance, rather than that kind of peer pressure of maybe other creators or the audience on YouTube expecting you to put out content.
Right.
I try to like silence those voices a little more, as much as I would love to fill out all the promises I make for my audience, maybe make less promises or something like that. but I know audience expects from me, and I know people on YouTube, if they subscribe to your channel, be it on Twitch or be it on YouTube, they kind of expect some sort of consistency or things like that. That's important, but the more important is for you as a creator to understand that it's okay to be in control. The channel will not die if you post 2 days late or a week late. Mm-hmm. As long as you enjoy the process, and if that ensures that you can create and make the process prevalent for the next 5 years, 10 years, because that's my time span. Like, I want to be doing this 5 years from now.
Right.
no. And to make it happen, I have to be mindful that it's not a rush. It's not like I don't have to like put out this many videos a week to be successful. You know,
Right.
I can have a rush around like a big event like a LegoCon if I feel to it, if I have the resources of time and ideas to execute, I will do so. So I can post like 6-7 videos a week. I did that 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a slower period and I feel like, okay, I need to slow down because I'm getting close to the point where I'm becoming too anxious to build Lego, for example. And I've been there before. I told you I burned out at Brick Vault to the point where I wasn't able to touch the bricks. I was like, there were new sets coming out because we were LAN members, and there would be packages of brand fresh sets showing up at the door that
Mm-hmm.
nobody has seen before. And I was like, whatever, you know?
Right.
So that felt terrible. That felt really bad. Because I know I was one of the first people in the world to see those sets and to build them. And that should have been like the dream come true. But if you push yourself too hard, that became a curse. And I wasn't able, like sometimes I would say like, you guys build the sets and maybe I'm gonna shoot a video or not after a week or something. But we had deadlines, we had all this stuff. So that led me to burnout and actually hating Lego, you know. And to recover from that, I had to look deep into myself and look deep into my mindset and like, okay, what I want to have from this? Why do I want to make this content? Like, how does this work for me so I can prevail this for years to come and prevent myself from burning out again?
Right.
And finding that balance is not something I can give advice on literally, because finding the balance for everyone is different.
Yeah.
It's like finding your own lightsaber, you know, building your own lightsaber as a Jedi. Like, you have to do it yourself. You have to go through all those emotions. You have to like fail, and you have to like burn out. Maybe that's harsh to say, but sometimes
Sure.
I feel stronger right now after I felt how it is to be burnt out from freaking Lego,
Yeah.
from colorful bricks who that we all love and spend a lot of money on. How can you burn out from this? Well, here's the thing: you can burn out from anything if you overdo it.
Definitely.
So being myself, like this freedom to have this balance and to have this control over what I do and how often I do and how much effort I put into it, this is a great feeling to have. And it helps control my anxiety. It helps control my kind of, you know, long-term presence online that I want to
Mm-hmm.
do. Honestly, I want like the same people who watch my videos today, or, you know, I have people who watched my videos 2 years ago still watching my videos or joining my streams. It's amazing to see people who've been 4 or 5, and you know, you have like 37 month subscribers or more.
Yeah. Yeah.
This like is really rewarding that I'm in a position that I can do this and it can, you know, help me sustain my hobby, but also I truly enjoy this, and I can, you know, share my family life, like share my life between family and hobby and content creation and being just a normal person. It's very important. So
Yeah.
if you're in a position that you're like really, 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 really into your hobby, make sure you find your balance, like before you even burn out,
Yeah.
or even like burn out and then figure out what to do.
Yeah.
You know, because I was this close to quitting. I don't know, like many times, many
Uh-huh.
times. It's
Yeah.
it's it's such a, yeah. It's the balance is like the everything you need, honestly. But
Yeah.
everybody finds their own, and it's so different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, I've mentioned this briefly, but I've taken time. I took 9, almost 10 months off of Twitch just to get my perspective back on
Mm-hmm.
everything, not just what I enjoyed about Twitch, but also like getting a handle on, like you said, balancing things out. Because I think at that point I was
Like,
streaming all the time.
what does Twitch mean in your life right now? What do you think made you take that break? Was it just the amount of effort and work you put into this? Was it the pressure you feel maybe from the chat? What was it? Like, I wonder, like, what,
Yeah,
because
it's a
you're an
good.
experienced Twitch streamer in my eyes right
Yeah,
now. So
it's
I want to like see your perspective. What led you? For me, it was literally like making too much stuff too quickly.
yeah,
Um,
it's a good
yeah,
question, and for me, it was, I think, a lot of self-imposed pressure to be
to
good,
perform, like
to
to grow.
perform, whether it was being satisfied with the quality of my streams and content, or
Right.
being satisfied with being uh because as a streamer, you're not just a broadcaster, but in a lot of ways you're also a community leader, right?
Manager or
You're like
leader,
a
yeah,
yeah, you're a community manager, you're a social media like there's a lot of things that you do as a
absolutely.
streamer. And I felt this more more of a need to fulfill all those things at a high level even though it wasn't my obligation to. And so I was having a hard time managing that against my everyday life. And so I needed to step away and say, I'm getting too far into this. I have a career, I have a family, I have other things that are important to me.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
unfortunately, there just wasn't enough room. So I needed to reset. And now I have a much better relationship with Twitch because
Hmm.
of being more moderate, as well as, like I said, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And that means that
That's
I
a
don't.
great term, by the way. I'm gonna steal that. It's like it's great. Like, hi, I'm a recovering perfectionist. That's so me. I'm still a perfectionist at heart, but I hate it for
Yeah.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it meant understanding that I didn't need to stream 5 times a week or 6 times a week. It meant that I
Right.
didn't have to stream for 4 or 5 to 6 hours a stream. It meant that I didn't have to, like, if we were to put it in context of Lego, like, I don't have to build specific things. Like, I need to build the things that make me happy. I
Yep.
need to stream what makes me happy and when it makes me happy to stream, and not get lost in the because I'm you wouldn't know it by the broadcasts and streams, because I'm very relaxed and very I would say chill, right? People refer to my stream
Hmm.
as a very chill stream, but I'm a very competitive person, or rather in light of streaming, like I really want to be good at it, right? I really want to be good at everything I do. And
Yeah, I
so
feel that.
I I that's what's caused me to burn out. And like you said, everyone needs to recognize and kind of find their own way to balance themselves. My way was figuring out how can I still do the thing that I really enjoy, which is streaming.
Hmm.
How can I do a hobby that I really love while streaming, Lego,
Yes.
and do those things and not get lost in the performance of it, or get lost when I say performance, like I want to do and still have a good stream and channel for people to enjoy, but I don't worry so much about what goes into it, because I have to trust that I'm doing a good job, and I have to
That's what
trust
I'm
that.
struggling with right now. I can
Yeah,
tell you that. Like,
yeah,
but back in the day, Brick Vault, I gotta say, was my addiction. It wasn't a 9 to 5 or anything. Like when I had the chance and I didn't have a Lego shift after my 9 to 5, I would stay until like 2 a.m. to make a video in
hmm,
the office, and that was like a time I wasn't paid for. But if I wanted to get a video out, I was diving too deep into it. I was literally addicted to making that content and to those numbers. If I had an early set, sometimes that was before the burnout.
right.
I think the Hogwarts Castle review, I spent like 2 days on it, and I uploaded like 3 a.m. in the morning from the
Wow.
office. It,
Yeah,
it was like something everybody would tell you, like, are you crazy? Like, what? This is not even your channel.
yeah.
And but I was so dedicated to it, and I knew like I had to step back from that feeling. Like even for the cool factor, I know where to pull the brakes.
Hmm.
Because I can be like a workaholic if I want to be. I can like pull out an all-nighter working on content,
Oh yeah, same.
and it happens. But for like as you said, for the health of yourself, for your mental health, and physical health, you
Hmm.
gotta get that sleep, and for your family to like remember how you look like, you kind of
Yeah,
have to like step away from that studio and get that camera shut off, for a while.
yeah.
Um but yeah, I feel you in that regard, that the drive to perform, because the problem is, like, I don't want to sound like I'm boasting or anything, but people like my videos. And people enjoyed the vlogs I was putting out, and that was like an addict, like a drug. It was
Yeah.
like wow, like get those good comments and those engagements and all that. And people want to see more from me. Like, keep up the good work. It's a great to say to a creator, but like, be careful what you wish for, because the creator will drive themselves to the ground to perform sometimes. And I was in that position when I was like, I want to make the best video I can, the best videos I can. I don't care if this is for me or for this other channel that I work for,
Yeah.
but the most important thing for me was to make the best possible videos I can make with my experience and knowledge and my skill set, or my approach to video making.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's like how Mr. Beast became the number one creator in the world. That's great.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't scale that. I scaled down that. So instead of building maybe my own giant company and doing a team of people that can do a lot of things for me, I decided, like, I'm gonna do everything on my own.
Yeah.
So that drives you down, and there's only so much time and energy you have in a week, especially while having kids, family, and a day job.
Definitely.
So now at least now, after all that experience, those negative experiences, I know where to stop and where to, like, okay, pull the brake, chill out a little.
Yeah.
The As you said, the video is good enough. You can put it out. You have to trust yourself more,
Yeah.
that already your experience or your approach to content, people like it. So why? No, it's always great to push further and expand your knowledge or your skills
Yeah.
and improve. Of course, you have to improve. Like, you can be stagnant,
Hmm.
but not at the cost of just driving yourself to the ground,
Exactly.
which I did. So definitely a great advice from you here, that that moment where you realize that performance is not everything. You have to live a little as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helps me continue this and not call it quits at this
Yeah.
point in time. I guess that little bit of understanding what your limits are, maybe
Right.
what your mental limits are, and even physical limits,
Yeah.
as well, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. It's all so true. I think that uh being able to protect your mental health and your ability to continue to make content is so important, because then, you know, if you put it in a more binary choice, either you run yourself into the ground making the perfect video,
Hmm. Been there
or
before, yeah.
you get to the point where you're happy with the level of that set, even though it may not feel perfect, but that means you can go and make another video.
Exactly. My favorite, one of my favorite content creators, Peter McKinnon. He's a great filmmaker on YouTube. He has this quote. It probably is not his, but he popularized it. Done is better than perfect.
Yep.
And also somebody else said, probably some other famous guy, um, comparison is the death of joy as well. So
Yeah.
something that I think I also kind of want to touch upon a little bit, that uh, something I've been guilty of as well in the past is like trying to like see how much work I put in and what the results are,
Uh-huh.
compared to maybe the similar amounts of work other people put in, and also like are
Oh
very
man.
much content drivers, but they have like 10 times fold bigger channel.
Yeah.
And then you just dive into this like deep hole, like, oh my god, like I'm putting this stuff, I have no results, like what I'm doing wrong, and you compare yourself, and the joy is gone of making content. So
Yep.
also don't do that. Something I try to live by lately, to just like, I think we're circling back to what you said, trust that you are already putting good stuff.
Yeah.
Trust yourself that people watch you for you, and pushing yourself too hard is not something that will make maybe more people watch you. Just keep doing you. Trust yourself, trust your audience, trust your opinion, trust your way of presentation. Just be more okay with yourself, and be less of a critic of yourself,
Right.
and just kill that comparison. Like, if somebody else is having more successful drive on YouTube or Twitch, whatever,
Yeah.
they again may have different life circumstances. They may have more time on their hands. They may be full-time creators. They may have been in the game for 10 years more than you have been.
Yeah.
There's so much to it that I think even somebody as experienced as you and me can sometimes forget, that you have to be a little selfish to yourself and focus on your circumstances and how you can put the lemons you get from life into something that works, um, and while maintaining that healthy balance or healthy relationship with your workflow. that keeps you afloat and not going insane, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So you've done so much on YouTube, and then you've started on Twitch.
Mhm.
I would love to hear your thoughts on someone who's come from the YouTube world to the Twitch world. What are your thoughts on making that, or not transition, because you still do both, but
Yes.
coming from one platform and then kind of learning a brand new one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna shout out Jank again because Jank
Yeah,
is the guy that I've been inspired by heavily on YouTube, and I guess many creators or even Lego AFOLs can tell that I know this set from Jank's review. That's a very common thing right now.
yeah.
But yeah, Jank has been like, I don't know him personally, but he's been like a colleague by design, basically,
Hmm.
in a way that he inspired my YouTube videos and creation of content. But also, we talked this one time, and he's like, at some point, Jank actually we chatted together about streaming because I was already streaming on YouTube, and Jank was shifting his channel into a different direction, and he was like, putting out some questions about streaming, and I was a little bit experienced in streaming, so I was telling him like, yeah, use OBS, do this, that, and he was like, nah, I'm not gonna ever stream. And now he has a very successful Twitch channel. And then like, he built this channel, and then he was on my YouTube streams, and it was something along the lines of like, Mike, what are you doing on YouTube? Like, come to Twitch, like just come to Twitch. Like, why are you, like, there's no point being on live YouTube, like what the heck are you doing? Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Not quoting Jank here, but like there was like, I was like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. And I knew Brick and Nick, for example, from Twitch,
Hmm.
and Bricks O'Brien, also great guy.
Hmm.
And I know there were streamers, but I wasn't knowing the whole like general picture of the community here. I wasn't really watching streams. I was on Twitch as a viewer for maybe like some chill gaming streams or something like that.
Right.
But I wasn't aware of the broader community. And then Jang was becoming more prevalent, and I'm a big supporter of his work. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna hang out at Jang's stream, and like I saw him like grow from this, like beginner to someone that a force in the community right now.
Yeah.
And then his raids like, introduced me to people like you and other people. And I was still at that point, I wasn't a streamer on Twitch. I had my account, but I saw all these like fancy streams, like these great setups. Like, wow, these people are doing some crazy stuff. Like, and I had my simple setup on YouTube, like with I was familiar with the process of streaming, but I wasn't aware that Twitch has this insane engagement tools you can provide to the
Oh yeah.
audience that's kind of sometimes overwhelming. To this point, even right now, even I'm a few weeks into this, few months into this, it's very overwhelming to build those tools and to like not feel like you're competing with other streamers or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think what I found the most striking about this transition is that on YouTube you have the chat, you have some super chats, there is some engagement, but basically it's a little different. It's like because the way YouTube exposes your content, you have a lot of random people, and subscribers do come back, but I feel like you have a lot more randomness in those streams, so it's very hard to build like a loyal community
Yeah.
on YouTube, especially that the chat goes sometimes crazy, and there are like people who just show up from like random pages and you don't know who they are. And on Twitch, like immediately some people came over, like because I was announcing I'm going to Twitch, and Junk helped me a little with few raids and here and that. And I was like, wow, like people, stay a while and listen on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels so much more inclusive and community building here than YouTube. I love YouTube for getting those videos out and getting those views, responding to comments. That's great. That's another like part of reaching out to the community. There is a community sense on YouTube, of course, because I have regular viewers who come back, and I read all the comments, by the way. So don't
Hmm.
put anything mean in the comments, but I read all the comments, and I enjoy that process. And on Twitch here, it's like you're live, and people come back to just hang out, and it just much more feels more like a lounge that you kind of open privately to people who truly enjoy your presence. Whereas on YouTube, it's more like an open door stadium that you're on the stage and people come in, come out, and it's just this whole feeling of like being like in spotlight of a crowd
Hmm.
rather than being in the spotlight of kind of like a jazz club lounge made of people that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
don't have a big,
I
yeah.
like to compare it to a house party.
Kinda, yeah. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't have a big community here on Twitch just yet,
Hmm.
but a lot of people who came from YouTube, I feel I can build more meaningful connections with them here on Twitch just because I guess they stay more longer or something like that,
Yeah.
or just we have like this real like meaningful conversations, even if I have like 5 viewers on stream or like 10 viewers or even like some 2 viewers sometimes. It doesn't matter. It always feels like people are just willing to stay more here on Twitch and just connect with you, get to know you better,
Yeah.
than on YouTube. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And plus, of course, like this whole world of raiding and sharing audiences, this trend right now happening on many streams with clips of cameos of other streamers showing up for redeems and all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
something that, for a YouTuber, it's like it's non-existent on YouTube. There is no such thing. You won't have like streaming on YouTube and some random Lego creator popping up in your stream like "Bleh," and
Right.
doing something funny. It's just there's no way to do it.
Right. To,
And
to
here
be
on Twitch, yeah.
to be fair, that specific example is very specific to the Lego community. Like you don't see that
You think
everywhere. No, I know this
really?
because I've been a variety streamer, I've been a single game streamer, I've done
Oh, okay.
all kinds of different streams on
But isn't
Twitch.
that more like a makers and crafters thing,
It's
or
it's
just
prime
specific brick building, or now
I see
Gundam
it
people?
mostly in the brick building community where where basically memes of other Lego or brick building or makers and crafter streamers
Yeah.
popping up. That's mostly specific to this community. It's actually really interesting as a community
Do you
where
think we're building a trend here that's gonna like spill over into other
I w- I w-
communities? That would be
I
interesting.
would be so happy if we saw more of that on Twitch.
Okay.
Building with the black dog in chat
Is
says
that
to be
Dan? Is that gonna be
that's
Dan?
Dan.
Yeah, there we go.
Formerly between the bricks. Says to be honest, Jane set that trend. Everyone else jumped on it.
I kind of want
That
to say that, but I'm not sure if that's. Do you think Junk started?
I would say I saw it on Jane's streams first, but there
Okay.
are definitely more people
Junk, the
within.
trendsetter.
I know. There are definitely more people within the brick building community doing that. It's a thing that is very new to even to someone like me, seeing
Yeah.
something in that specific like use case. But you're talking about how Twitch is so different that there's a lot of, it seems like, a engagement, a lot
Yeah.
of crossover, a lot of
Maybe
different
like
things.
I have a biased look here because I think I joined as that trend was kind of setting up. I'm a chill streamer, so I did some redeems on my channel, but like that was kind of the driver to also move to Twitch because my main drive was to, well, sometimes YouTube streams felt like I don't give enough to my audience. And like, what do they do on my stream? Like, do they just watch me build Lego and like, what, look at my hands? What do they do? Like, they don't have anything to kind of interact with each other or do something more exciting, in a way. And Twitch was this kind of, as I saw at Junction, I was like, oh, you can like do redeems and people can spend points to do something silly on the stream, and they can like coordinate reactions in the
Yeah.
chat and like build and those hype trains. Hype trains is also a thing I learned about. And in the end, it kind of felt like cool, but I think my personality, as much as I want to make chaos sometimes on streams, I feel like my personality doesn't really like allow it. And
Yeah.
it's like I kind of wanna, I wanna bring more interactive experience to the viewers, but also I gotta say I did enjoy those chill do nothing streams on YouTube where I just build and chat and we just have this conversation. There's nothing really
Yeah.
popping up or interrupting, and anything that interrupts is a super chat from a like, a great supporter or something. And here, sometimes those things take over the stream, and I just on the fence, like, is that something that you have to kind of compete with to gain audience's attention, to like hang around? Or is it okay for you to rely on just your personality to attract people to hang out with you in the chat? Like, what's the balance here?
Yeah.
And
People.
Jang is actually a great example because I feel he's a great personality, and I would watch him, I don't know, peel potatoes for 4 hours if need be,
He
because
should
I
do
just
that.
love his voice and I love his chill vibe. and he's been a great inspiration in terms of just video making for years for me now.
Yeah.
But he like enhanced his stream with all this craziness, and it's
Yeah.
like the best of both worlds. Like, you want chaos? Cool. Junk has like 55 redeems you can use and make it crazy. Or you can just sometimes wait for it to cool down, and Junk will always have something great to say on the stream.
Yeah.
And you can spark
Definitely.
conversations because he reads the entire chat. So I think like there is no there is no like extreme sides of either of this. You can be a
Right.
channel based on personality, and people like to hang out with you and hear what you have to say. But at the same time, you can provide some sort of like controlled chaos that, or sometimes uncontrolled. But you can do that on Twitch, and I think that versatility of Twitch is something fascinating for me. Because on
Yeah.
YouTube, you put out video, you make the best thumbnail you can, you make the best title you can, and you hope for the people to click. Yeah, sure, you
Right.
can share the video here and there, you make some rounds, but in the end, you rely on your video being good, and that's it. And once you've done the upload and posted, that's where you start working on the next video. And on Twitch, it's like this constant like adaptation, this constant versatility of like, yeah, you can like improve your live experience over time. And I'm still learning that. Like, it's kind
Yeah.
of even becoming overwhelming. Like, again, that comparison problem I have, saying like, oh, these guys have this amazing funny redeems, like I'm never gonna be this funny. And
Yeah.
then you realize that, wait, like I don't have to be this funny, I have to be me. And
Yeah.
maybe I can do some redeems that kind of interact with my personality a little more,
Yeah.
and maybe go less. If I don't want to be as chaotic as other streamers, maybe I'm gonna be just less chaotic, or maybe like gonna skip the redeems altogether. So
Yeah.
you have this kind of, in the brick building community, you there is a place for, I guess, for everyone. It's so amazing that you can be super chill, even sometimes no face streamer, just hands on the deck, and you build Lego and just chat. That's cool. You can
Yeah.
be a great 8 camera setup crazy guy like Jang that does like insane production while streaming and going full chaos. You can be like you can just talk to people and get fun perspectives on how people do things. There's space for everyone, and I
Yeah.
think that what brought me to Twitch. Like, now I can tell that it's something that brings me to Twitch. I can, even if I'm not consistent yet with streaming, which I do apologize my audience for, because I was like, I'm gonna stream like 3 days a week, but knowing my limits, I have to like wait for that to
Yeah.
settle, so I can set that schedule. But it's so liberating to actually take a 2 weeks break. I mean, probably somebody who, I don't know, takes it seriously and maybe like relies on the income from Twitch, from subs or something, maybe should be more mindful of how often they stream. But in the end, I think Twitch is great for me as like this connection to the audience, that I can just hop in and do whatever I want at different intervals.
Hmm.
And there's always going to be somebody showing up, and I can, if I want to, I can expand the stream a little more, I can make it more better experience, but I can keep it the way it is, and it's also going to be great, like as long as your audio and video is good. And
Yeah.
there is no barrier of like how crazy my title has to be, how good of a thumbnail I have to make the stream work.
Yeah.
No, if people follow you on Twitch, I feel like if they follow you because they enjoy your presence. So you can put some in that are like, drinking tea today, come join, and people will join, because it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be clickbaity. There is no thumbnail. I mean, I think you can make a thumbnail on Twitch, but it's
Yeah.
not important. It's like people look at that tab to the left, or look at the notification like, oh, this guy is on, I like this guy, I'm gonna
Yeah.
join, right?
It's not important like it is on YouTube. The title, definitely. Like,
Yes, it's
yeah.
not like it's nobody searches Twitch for like titles,
Right.
it's not a search term, or there is no algorithm serving. I mean, okay, people like, Twitch page will push up streamers with more viewers, obviously, but there is no like fighting the algorithm, trying to like, like, let's get the best title so people click my stream.
Yeah.
No, usually people find your stream through a raid. Maybe the lack of discoverability on Twitch is maybe a blessing in disguise.
I mean,
Because
yeah.
once
Yeah.
people find you, like, and they follow, there's a big chance they're gonna come back. Maybe, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little different thing. On YouTube, once you lose somebody's attention, they unsubscribe, you might be gone forever. You just
Right.
lost a viewer. So maybe it's a little different. And speaking of the devil,
Yeah. Jane
Jang is
is
in
in
the chat.
chat, and I'd
There
love
you
to
go.
take a second to just note what he said because I agree with this completely. Jang says, "Please, streamers watching this, listen to what he just said. Don't try to be me or any other single individual you see a tiny sliver of. Try to be you and try to be the best you." Uh, a
That's
hundred
well,
percent.
well said, John.
100%. That's definitely, you this comes up every so often on this show talking about whether it's like the highly chaotic streams where there's a ton of redeems or, the other side of it where there is completely like chill or like nothing like that going on at all. And
Hmm.
I would love to echo Jang's point in the fact that, don't try to be any other specific, and this is for anyone listening. uh
Yeah,
don't try to be like any specific streamer. Be you, do the things that make you, and going back to Mike's point, uh enjoy the process, right? Within the context of Twitch and streaming, that means, you know broadcasting in a manner that is true to how you would want to engage. Like, so if you want chaos and that is you, then yeah, sure, do it.
absolutely,
If
yes.
yeah, if that is not you.
I feel like Junk is a great example of, well, he's big, obviously, so he will have followers trying to copy him. Like that's like just the name of the game. Like
Mhm.
Junk has my utmost respect for the longest time because he was always such a crazy creator with insane work ethics that he put a lot of time and effort into this. It's kind of like copying somebody like him. It's kind of, I won't say insulting, but it's a little bit, he put like 10 years of his life or more into this. And you copying somebody like him doesn't mean you're going to be like successful overnight. That how he came to the point of being him on Twitch or on YouTube right at this point, it's basically a long-term process of his tries and failures and successes and long
Mhm.
experiments of how he does things. So yeah, we have tools at our disposal right now. Like Junk really told me that there's a trigger fire when you can do all those redeems. I didn't even know that exists.
Yeah.
He said, I mean, like, yeah, you have those tools, you can use them. And he was very specific, like, of course, do not copy, anything. And I was very clear, like, Junk, like, I would feel very disrespectful if I copied any of your stuff. Like, I wouldn't be with my mindset on content if I was copying people. Like, yeah, you can get inspired. You can use the tools other people use. You can use, if you can enhance your stream experience or video experience or some editing techniques, maybe for, if we're talking about video. Yeah, you can watch creators teach you about how to edit, how to, create your camera look or light setup. All that stuff can be taught. But in
Yeah.
the end, you take those tools and you make it your own. Like if you just go bit by bit trying to copy other people's success, remember their success is not how crazy great setup they have or how awesome their videos look. They came to that point because there's a personality behind it. There is a
Right.
long form process that involves their hobby, their learning curve, their just time spent on that stuff. Like Junk streams 5 6 hours 7 hours to 42 hour streams sometimes. Trying to match that and by copying is just not only disrespectful, but you're gonna lose waste time basically. Like I think every creator has to, well, sure, use the tools you have at your disposal, as I said, but if that something doesn't work for you or you can't make it work for you, don't try to force it to like make it work. Maybe find a different approach. I think like over years I learned that even though I was doubting that, I feel like I have my own style, and I'm happy to say, at least in my own personal look at my content, if I try to be objective, which there's not, you're always subjective about your content,
Mhm.
but I feel like I built some way of opinionating things or presenting myself to the world that it's me. It's just not something like I don't try to speak like this guy, and I try to like structure my videos as this guy.
Mhm.
Probably anything you watch from me, any similarities are pure coincidental or just slight inspiration or something, because sometimes things work and you say like, yeah, that's a cool type maybe of things I want to do, but how do I spin it to make it my own? And how they say, the like good creators or good painters in get inspired. No, like the good painters steal the content and the great painters get inspired by it, or something like that. Maybe I spin it, but the whole thing is that everything you do ends up being has to be like has to end up being you doing this in a unique way.
Hmm.
You have to be unique. So yeah, it's a great point that Jang brought up, and I'm glad that that he's here. Definitely copying, like how are you gonna find your voice, your
Yeah.
own way of presenting yourself and being a creator if you constantly copy somebody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct in that, as well as what Jane said. I think the best way to approach it, especially if you're new to this whole thing as a creator, uh
Yeah,
look at who you enjoy consuming, right? Like, look at the content that you like to consume, but don't necessarily try to be that person, right?
we
Like it.
subconsciously get inspired by creators all the time. Like
Right.
it's subconscious. It just happens, and it's a process. You've been in this 5 years. I've been in this the whole, like, from my first ever video made to this point, like 6 years. That length of time brings you through just like a giant curve function, sinusoidal function of ups and downs, and this the better creator. Overall, I think that the better online person you become, the more of those ups and downs you go through.
Yeah.
It's just like every down teaches you something, every up teaches you something. It's like an experience that you can do better against or forward the next time you come into this. It's just, I like those conversations like we have here because it gives me the perspective that I've been in this game for a little time now. I think even if I don't see it, maybe if I sometimes look short term, I know that the way who I am right now was shaped by all my past like failures and bad things or and the good things that happened, and they led me to this point. So maybe I could have made different choices in the past. Maybe I could have never gotten this Lego job and I wouldn't be here talking to you today. But all our experiences lead us to who we are today, and we have to trust that. Like, we have to trust that process. Like, if you want to be this person, you're making conscious decisions on your content. And same applies to any Twitch or YouTube. Just like, sure, get inspired, use the tools at your disposal, do all the things you want to do, focus on the process, on the creation, rather than trying to nitpick things that other people do. Like, oh, this works, like I'm gonna take
Yeah.
this works, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take this. If you do, make sure you at least spin it, make it so that it associates with your name, rather than like, maybe, oh, I've seen this somewhere else,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Make it
I guess
yours.
make it yours,
Yeah.
and be you. Like Jang said, be the best of you.
Yeah. I think the longer someone has been doing this, there is more of that to be true. What I mean by saying that is, I think those that are newer to content creation, they may not know what that is, right? Like you said earlier, finding your voice or who you
Do
are.
you like the prevalence of social media right now, especially
Hmm.
like that short form content? The attention span of a butterfly on social media right now. Like, everybody's
Yeah.
like scroll,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just see an idea and it's so easy to copy, right? And
Sure.
I wonder if younger creators or people who are just starting out, maybe listening here or something, they just follow the trend. Like, you will see all this advice saying like, why open an open door, like, just take this idea, spin it and make it your own, or like even copy blatantly and just like say the exact same things but as you, for example, right? So do you think like that kind of push for social media to be this quick form, like adrenal, dopamine hit entertainment,
Hmm.
is encouraging that behavior? Like, trying to see, oh, this guy did a really cool, I don't know, TikTok, or his stream setup is so perfect, I'm gonna take that
Yeah.
and try to like do exactly as he does or she, right?
I think short form content can encourage following trends more easily, mainly because it forces creators to condense things down to at least early in TikTok's days, 60 seconds. And so
Mhm.
I could see it definitely encouraging that sort of copying, or that people are chasing trends. I think it encourages a lot of people to do that, but I don't think that it necessarily gives a lot of creators any real growth, right?
You're right. Maybe that's a bad example if I think about it, because we're talking, per Jang's point, we're talking about looking at somebody's whole picture, like personality and what they are behind the content. And maybe we're
Persona.
looking at this the wrong yeah, exactly. We're looking at this the wrong way because all of the short form content is personless. You don't know who's behind it. Like he's just some quick creator you don't even remember the channel's name sometimes. So maybe that's a bad comparison here.
Hmm,
Like I think we're talking about when you're trying to be. I think there's a great comment in the chat. It's okay to be inspired, but as hard as you try, you can't be that person.
right.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who see a successful long form creator, they literally try to be them.
Yeah.
Try to like you can copy the tools or the presence, try to copy that, but in the end, that persona part, is what makes them them, and
Yeah.
what makes their content, and what makes their audience watch them. I'm very heavy against like trying to copy like literal things that people do. Maybe even to the point that you're plagiarizing content,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think within the context of someone who is completely new to content creation, one exercise that's always been helpful talking to new streamers is have them think about who do you watch on Twitch, or who do you watch on
Mhm.
YouTube? List those people out. Okay, now that you have that list, go through each person and find 1 to 2 things that you like about that person, why you watch and consume their content. And then when you have that list, it's not to say, oh, you need to steal their gimmicks or the things that they do, but really understanding, what do I like about that? Like what do I like about that? And then the
Mhm.
next step is, after you've recognized those things that you like about it, how does this relate to me as a creator? How does this reflect upon me? Am I the same way? If yes, then
Mhm.
okay, great. I will do
I
that
think
particular
that's a great
thing
point.
as
Yeah.
me. I think that's a good exercise for new creators who don't really know what their voice is, or what their um I don't like the word mission statement, but like what they want to create for their
Absolutely.
content. I would never encourage them to like blatantly do the exact same things as their favorite
Yeah.
creators, but I like to say, use it as a starting point, inspiration, where you can find almost like bootstrapping, right? Where like,
Yeah.
okay, I know where they are. How can I be the best me, knowing that's what I like about the content that I consume?
You're
So,
absolutely right. I think we're talking about approach here, right?
right,
Because like it's not the actual object matter of how somebody else's stream looks or feels,
right.
but it's more like, yeah, we're attracted to people who are kind of similar to us.
Yeah,
Like I find myself as a chill person. That's why I said before that building a chaos stream, for me, with all the like insane amounts of redeems would not work for me feeling good on the stream
right.
as much as I would like to maybe be more popular or whatever. I know, that's kind of the trend that works, but in the end, like how would it work if it like works for you for 6 streams and on the 7th stream you're like so burned out
Yeah,
or so not feeling with your brand on point with your brand that you're just gonna not stream for the next 3 months
right.
because your design that you copied from somebody else doesn't really vibrate with your own persona,
Yeah,
right? So absolutely, like, yeah, I think you gave a great context to this because yeah, we get attracted to people who are similar to us. That is why I don't watch those like hyper active streamers, except maybe for Dr. Disrespect is a great streamer, but one of my favorites still. But like on Twitch, I gravitate towards very like chill late night, indie game streamers who just hang out, have soothing voices, and just do their thing. And I'm like, cool, I'm a true person, so I guess if I like that, then if I do that on my stream, I'm gonna be feeling good with myself And I think it's just like such a cliche thing to say, like always be you. Well, that you it's cliche thing to say because everybody says that because it's true. In the end, I had so much advice in the past saying like, Mike, you could grow your channel so much more if only you build something more exciting on your YouTube, and you can be like, maybe your editing needs a bit to be a bit more snappier, and you can maybe follow a few trends, maybe be quicker about your trends, or maybe do some more hype, do some like sound effects. Like, bro, I don't like that. Like, it's not me,
Right.
like, if I was maybe building a YouTube empire and I had to like serve the trends or forcefully gain my popularity, sure, but in the end, I'm that kind of person that likes to be feel good in my skin. If
Right.
I became famous because I would be playing somebody else or forcing myself to be somebody else, then what's the happiness from that
Right.
popularity, right? Like, I want people, like, I enjoy the most the fact that people come back to my stuff, no matter how bad or good I feel about a video. They come back to my stuff and they always say something like, thanks for sharing, Mike. I always love your perspective. I
Right.
like how you present things. And that reassures me that I'm hitting the right kinds of people that resonate with my content, because this is the content I'm not forcing myself to make.
Yeah.
If I say something the way I say it, if I act on a stream the way I act, that's me. That's like, I'm not trying to be somebody else. That's what I probably watch Dr. Disrespect, because he's type of guy that probably is completely different in real life and make this whole persona
Yeah.
very successfully though. But he vibes with it, he lives that persona. So
Yeah.
that connects with his inner soul, basically, in a way. So there are people like that. I'm not that kind of person. I try to be. I even did, I think, a Halloween stream when I dressed up as Dr. Disrespect, and it was funny. It was like I tried to like imitate, but I felt so bad after the stream because I was like, whoa, like role playing on a stream, not cool. Not I don't like it. I literally can't do it. I felt
Right.
like so anxious after this. So I guess it kind of answered my question, like, what kind of streamer do I want to be? What kind of creator do I want to be? What kind of people do I want to attract?
Yeah.
And I always say, like, my goal is to share that love for Lego, and also like maybe sharing a little bit of knowledge about editing and video production here and there,
Yeah.
because that's who I am. That's what I want to do. I want to share this relaxation. Like, for me, Lego is a relaxation tool. It's something that gets the stress off my shoulders. It's something that I just like doing in my spare time, and the sound of the clutch power sound and all that stuff. And I was saying in my streams, like, yeah, you hang out here because you're kind of vibing with that kind of setting here. Like, I'm not trying to be anything else than somebody I would like myself to spend time with.
We covered a lot actually, and
Mhm.
yet somehow I feel like we didn't get to cover as much as
I told
I
you
would
in the
want
pre-show
to.
I talk a lot.
No, that isn't even the problem. I just think there was a lot of ground to cover. But definitely, there was a lot of what it means to be a creator and what it means to really dig in and find what is important to you as a creator. So thank you for that, Mike. I really
Oh no, thank
er,
you for your input as well. Like, I think I can resonate with a lot that you say.
thank you.
It's just like great to see your perspective. Like, I kind of was happy to join this conversation in part of watching your former, crossing the streams shows,
Hmm.
and I watched them to see those perspectives, exactly to see how other creators are coping with things that they struggle with, that I
Yeah.
struggle with as well. So, and I know you're like, you hit great points as well. So it's really nice to connect and be on the same page.
Well, thank you. Any parting words that you have for those that are listening?
Man, I would love to list all the mistakes I made as the like part-time content creator I am. There's so many, but I think what comes down to is probably a lot of people are listening to, like, also to your show, to like find if they have the groove to create, or to be a Twitch streamer, YouTuber, TikToker, Instagrammer, whatever you want to do. It all comes down to, and it doesn't matter what personality you have, what kind of person you are. It all comes down to doing it kind of for yourself first. A lot of kids would say nowadays, like, I want to become a YouTuber and be famous like PewDiePie or Mr. Beast. In the end, I think these guys, these crazy 100 million sub guys, they were doing it because they truly did that first for themselves, and then they grew it into something insanely big. But I would say they're still doing it to this point in time because they actually enjoy it. Before you, like, maybe not before you start, because you have to try first, or do not. There is no try, as some wise little green guy said. You have to really test yourself in the process and find your breaking point. And then if you find your breaking point, there's this little like sign saying like, okay, you found your breaking point, do not go past this sign. And now you ask your question, well, do I overcome this and do I go past this sign and not quit, or do I turn back and go back where I were? That's kind of like the long-term content creation, because I guess more and more and me are in this game for the next few years to come. And we only are in this game because we had our fair share of failures and we were able to test ourselves in, do we quit or do we not quit? And from my experience, part of it that we didn't quit was that we just enjoyed the heck out of it. And you can take as many breaks as you want and as many lows as you can sustain, but in the end, every time you come back, that means you have won. And it's a very tough, I don't want to call this a career, but every time you make a hobby into something more than a hobby, be prepared for challenges and be prepared for just a lot of doubt, even in yourself. And that's coming from somebody that was burned out. I was at the point where I was hating Lego as a brand, as a company, as a product. I wouldn't touch a brand new set arriving from Lego on the like 2 weeks before launch, because I pushed myself so hard into the process and forgot about how to enjoy the process. I was like, performance, output, results. So don't do that. Make sure you love what you're doing. If you need to slow down, slow down. If you just wake up every day and look at that follower number not going up, you're not doing this right. Think about the next video. Think about maybe your plan your next break if you need to, but think about what this whole thing of whatever hobby you have plus content creation means in your life. Find that moment that you feel like you can say like, okay, this week sucks, I have no motivation, I hate my whole life for choosing my career or whatever or hobby into this, but I'm gonna come back tomorrow and it's gonna feel great. Okay, so make sure you understand your mind and you understand your persona, that you can actually do this. And don't feel afraid that if you tried and you failed multiple times, quitting is also an option. I think like that's something that needs to be said, that a lot of the times you will hear like, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. But if you don't vibe with the creation, if you absolutely loathe or hate the process of spending those hours on editing, spending those hours on researching how to stream, on spending those hours on streams where you have two people watching and you feel like you wasted your time, then reevaluate and maybe it's not for you. But if you reevaluated and you came back and felt like, you know what, the next time is going to be better, and I'm going to, things going to be different, and I still will enjoy the time and effort I spend into this, then you're probably a content creator. It's very important to see that perspective. It's never an overnight success. For different people, success is measured completely differently. Like when I got my first 1,000 like subs or like 1,000 views average per weekly uploads, I was like, whoa. Like that happened literally, I think 2 weeks ago, when I had an average of like 2,500 views per 48-hour video. I don't usually do metrics most of the time, but when you see that and you're like, wait, stop, okay, let's reevaluate. Actually, I'm growing. I should appreciate the things that led me to this point. And there is that's my form of success. If I push my bar a little more, despite all those failures and moments of doubt that I had multiple times, and I see that progress, and then I can stop and look back and actually say like, hey, you know what, that work paid off. I'm actually averaging higher than before, and I still enjoy the process, and that I really enjoyed this video I made. Even though there was a talking head about some new set, people really vibed with my opinion, and appreciate that. Take it in, take it all in. Make sure you enjoy that, and on to the next video. But keep your well-being in mind as well. Like that's very important. This is like, somebody who was about to quit like 50 times probably. This is very important to keep your well-being. If your family tells you to slow down, slow down. If you feel like you're spending less time with the kids, stop the content, spend more time with the kids. Do those things that make sure that you are in this game 5 years from now or 10 years from now. Like that's maybe I don't know if everybody's thinking in those perspectives, but for me, I want to be the cool factor in 2020, no, 2029, 2035. I kind of want to be still the cool factor in a way. So that's how long forward I look into this. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say. It's like I have so many perspectives from people saying like, I want to be a content creator and I'm gonna just do this thing that everybody else is doing. I'm gonna succeed overnight. Probably won't happen. It's very rare that it happens unless you're like somebody insanely hitting the trends or something like that. But in the end, it's for you first. Just to summarize, for you first, you have to enjoy it. You have to like it. If you feel like you don't liking it, take a break, reevaluate, see if you like it. No, after a break, like More and More did with his break, and I did breaks as well. Just think long term. Again, marathon, not a sprint. Just if you have to slow down with Lego, for example, like many people do right now, it's okay to do so. And I'm just gonna touch on my kind of community that brings up this question a lot in the chat. They say something like, "Oh, I regret that I took a 2 week break on my videos," and I was like, "No, that's fine. That's fine. If you needed that, your body told you that you needed that break. Take a break. Everybody needs breaks, and it's okay. Your channel will not go anywhere. Don't like kind of control your pressure. I said it before, and More and More asked me how I balance, how I keep myself motivated even after periods of severe doubt and unmotivation. That's exactly that, because I understand that okay, it's cool to slow down. Just be that kind of understanding creator. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.